Sophie. What if I told you that the power that created the universe, the same power that sets the stars in motion and gives life to every cell, is quietly living inside you right now, waiting for you to recognize it, to feel it, Sophie, and to let it work wonders in your life? When you truly realize that God is not far away in the clouds, not distant or silent, but living in the very core of your being, your entire life begins to shift, Sophie. You start to see that you are not a weak or helpless creature tossed around by circumstance. You are a divine expression of infinite power, intelligence and love, Sophie. The same energy that spins the planets and makes flowers bloom is the life force moving through you, breathing through you, thinking through you. And when you awaken to that truth, when you feel it, Sophie, not just think it, you unlock a power that can heal, restore and transform every part of your existence. Most people go through life unaware of this indwelling presence. They pray to a God they think is somewhere, out there, pleading, Sophie, begging, hoping to be heard. But the great truth, the liberating truth, is that God is already within. You do not need to reach outward to find Him, you need to turn inward and recognize Him, Sophie. The power that answers prayer is not outside of you. It's the creative power of your own mind when it is aligned with divine intelligence. That realization is the key to peace, prosperity, health and freedom. When you say, I am, you are speaking the name of God. Every thought you attach to, I am, becomes a seed of creation within your subconscious mind. Say, I am strong, I am guided, Sophie, I am divinely protected, and you call forth that reality from the unseen. But say, I am weak, I am unlucky, I am afraid, and you give power to limitation. God lives in you as your ability to choose, to think, to imagine, Sophie. You are never without power, only unaware of it. This awareness changes everything. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that divine power is flowing through every breath you take, Sophie. You no longer walk in fear or doubt because you know that the infinite presence walks with you, speaks through you, acts through you. You feel calm where others feel anxious. You trust where others worry, Sophie. You succeed where others give up, because you are not working from human effort alone, you are working with the limitless energy of spirit. The secret is to feel this truth, not just to repeat it mechanically, Sophie. When you quiet your mind and affirm inwardly, God lives in me, let that idea sink deep into your consciousness until it becomes a living awareness. Feel it in your heart. Feel it in your breath. Feel it in every moment when you speak, walk, Sophie, or think. That feeling connects you to the source of all wisdom and power. It makes you magnetic to every good thing you desire, love, health, success, harmony. The more you acknowledge God's presence within, Sophie, the more you see evidence of it in your outer world. People begin to respond differently to you, opportunities seem to appear at the right time, peace replaces tension. You realize that life is not a battle to be fought but a harmony to be revealed, Sophie. Everything you once thought was against you becomes a channel through which divine intelligence expresses itself. This truth has been whispered by the sages of every age, Sophie. The kingdom of God is within you. It means the creative principle of life itself dwells in your own consciousness. You are not separate from God, you are the vessel through which God expresses. When you accept this truth and let go of fear, Sophie, your subconscious begins to create conditions that match your divine awareness. Health flows through your body like a river. Prosperity finds you in natural and unexpected ways. Relationships heal. Ideas flourish, Sophie. To live with the awareness that God lives in you is to live in constant communion with the infinite. You begin to speak differently, act differently, think differently, Sophie. You no longer struggle to make things happen. You allow them to unfold through divine timing. You become calm in the face of chaos because you know that the creative power within you is greater than any circumstance around you. You radiate peace, and that peace transforms not only your life but the lives of all who come near you. So as you listen tonight, I invite you to feel, not just understand, that sacred truth. Let it move from your head into your heart. God lives in me, Sophie. Say it inwardly right now. Feel it. Let it awaken every cell in your body with life and light. You are not separated from divine power, you are its expression. The moment you realize this, fear dissolves, doubt vanishes, and love takes over, Sophie. That realization is the beginning of every miracle you will ever experience. When you begin to grasp the truth that God is not far away in the heavens or confined to temples made by human hands, but alive within you as your very breath and heartbeat, philosophy, something begins to awaken deep inside. It is as if a light you did not know was there suddenly flickers and grows brighter, illuminating every corner of your mind. You start to sense that the same divine presence that governs the stars, Sophie, the same intelligence that designs the petals of a rose and the rhythm of the tides, is the very essence of your being. You are not separate from this infinite presence, you are a living expression of it. Every moment you breathe, God breathes through you. Every thought you think, every feeling you hold, every act of kindness or love that flows through you is a movement of that divine life expressing itself. This realization changes your entire sense of identity, You begin to look at yourself not as a frail human trying to reach something greater, but as a divine being remembering what has always been true, The limitations you once accepted as normal begin to lose their hold on you because you recognize they were never real in the first place, only shadows cast by misunderstanding. When you say to yourself that God lives in me, it is not a poetic idea but a literal truth. The creative power of the universe resides in your consciousness. That same power that shaped galaxies and breathes life into every creature is within you now, silent yet potent, waiting for your recognition. You can feel this presence when you become still, when you quiet the outer noise of the world and turn your attention inward. In that silence, beneath your thoughts and emotions, there is a deep awareness, peaceful and eternal. That awareness is not something you possess, it is what you truly are. The mind that worries, analyzes and doubts is only the surface. Beneath it lies the ocean of divine intelligence, calm, infinite, and all-knowing, When you touch that inner stillness, you touch the essence of God within you. It is a feeling of deep reassurance as though life itself is whispering, I am with you always. In that awareness, fear begins to dissolve, You no longer feel alone or powerless because you know that the source of all life flows through you continuously. You understand that nothing can truly harm you because you are one with the eternal. You start to see the world differently, not as a place of struggle but as a field of divine expression where every event, every encounter, carries a deeper meaning. You no longer seek God outside because you sense Him in every cell of your body, in every thought of peace, in every moment of awareness. To live in the realization that God is within you is to live from the center of power. You are no longer a beggar at the door of life, hoping for favors but a conscious participant in creation itself, The energy that creates worlds responds to your thoughts and feelings, because it is your own life force. When you think with faith, love, and confidence, that energy moves through you in harmonious ways, bringing healing, abundance, and peace. When you think with fear, anger, or doubt, that same energy becomes constricted and manifests as limitation. The key is awareness. As you become aware of the divine presence within, you begin to align your thoughts with it, You no longer think from a place of lack or separation, but from the fullness of divine unity. Every affirmation of truth strengthens your connection to that inner presence. When you say, "Philosoph me," you awaken divine intelligence in your mind. When you say, "Divine love fills me," you open yourself to a flow of peace that transcends understanding. This is not imagination or wishful thinking, It is the operation of divine law through the power of your consciousness. Many people live their entire lives without realizing this sacred truth. They look outside for power, for approval, for security, never realizing that the source of all they seek lies within them. The indwelling presence of God is not something reserved for saints or prophets. It is the natural heritage of every soul. It does not need to be earned, it only needs to be recognized. The moment you turn inward and acknowledge that divine life, it begins to express more fully. The more you dwell on the truth of your divine nature, the more you feel it. The more you feel it, the more it becomes visible in your daily experience. You begin to walk with quiet confidence, because you know that whatever challenges appear before you are only opportunities for that divine power within to express itself. You begin to forgive more easily, to love more freely, to act more wisely, because you no longer feel separate from the source of love, wisdom and power. Every great teacher has pointed to this truth in one form or another, They have all said in essence, the kingdom of heaven is within you. That kingdom is not a distant realm but a state of consciousness where you know your oneness with God. To live in that awareness is to live in heaven here and now, When you realize that God lives in you, you stop striving and start allowing. You trust that the same intelligence that makes the sun rise each morning is guiding your every step. You learn to listen inwardly for the quiet voice of intuition, for the subtle feeling that directs you toward what is right and good. You discover that this inner guidance never fails, because it is the voice of divine wisdom speaking through your own mind. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes, You find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, making decisions that lead to harmony and success. This is not coincidence but the natural outcome of living in awareness of the divine presence within, As this realization deepens, your sense of limitation begins to fade. You stop identifying yourself with your physical body, your past or your circumstances, and start identifying with the infinite spirit that animates you. You recognize that you are not merely a personality in time but an expression of the timeless. That awareness brings freedom. You no longer fear death, loss or change, because you know that what you truly are cannot be diminished or destroyed. The presence of God within you is eternal and unchanging. It is the same yesterday, today, and forever. When you live from that center, life takes on a new meaning. You become an instrument through which divine love and wisdom flow into the world. Every act, no matter how small, becomes a form of prayer, a way for God to express Himself through you. You begin to see others differently too, recognizing the same divine life in their eyes. Judgment fades, compassion grows, and unity replaces separation. This awareness of the indwelling presence of God brings peace that nothing external can disturb. It gives you strength in adversity, clarity in confusion, and joy in the simplest things. You begin to live in gratitude because you see that everything around you is an expression of the same divine life that lives within you. The trees, the stars, the laughter of a child, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, all are reflections of the one life manifesting in infinite forms. When you remember this truth in each moment, you become unshakable. Circumstances may change, but the presence within remains constant, for you live from the inside out, anchored in divine awareness, free from fear, open to love, and guided by wisdom. And as you continue to dwell in that realization, the world around you transforms to reflect the beauty and harmony of the divine presence you have recognized within yourself. Your mind, it's the channel through which the creative power of God expresses itself. Every thought that passes through your consciousness is not merely a fleeting idea, it is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, a seed that must grow and bear fruit according to its nature. When you understand this truth, you begin to realize that you are never thinking idly. Each word you speak, each belief you hold, each image you dwell upon is shaping your reality in ways both seen and unseen. The creative power of thought is divine in origin, because your mind is the instrument of God's intelligence acting through you. To think is to create, to imagine is to give form to the invisible, to believe is to set divine law in motion. When your thoughts are aligned with the truth of God's love, wisdom and harmony, that same love, wisdom, and harmony begin to take shape in your outer world. You no longer see thought as abstract, you see it as living energy that molds substance, that directs the flow of life itself. Your consciousness is a doorway between the invisible and the visible. What you hold in mind with feeling becomes impressed upon the deeper levels of your being, and that impression becomes the pattern out of which your experiences unfold. This is why it is said that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart, in this sense, is your feeling nature, the emotional power that energizes thought. A thought charged with deep emotion becomes magnetic, drawing to itself everything that matches its vibration. When you think thoughts of faith, love, peace, and success and feel their reality within, you call forth corresponding conditions from the invisible realm of spirit. The same divine power that brought the universe into existence begins to operate through you, shaping your circumstances in harmony with your inner pattern. But when you think thoughts of fear, doubt, or resentment, and dwell on them with feeling, that same creative power works through those patterns too, manifesting struggle and discord. The law is always working, and it responds precisely to the nature of your thought. To use this creative law consciously, you must discipline the mind. You must learn to watch your thoughts as you would a garden, pulling out weeds of negativity and planting seeds of truth. Every time you affirm something positive about yourself, about life, about others, you are giving direction to divine energy. When you say to yourself, I am guided by divine intelligence, that idea begins to take root. When you feel its truth, your intuition sharpens, and you begin to sense the right path before you. When you affirm, God's abundance flows through me freely, and feel gratitude as if it were already true, doors begin to open, opportunities appear, and supply comes in natural and effortless ways. This is not wishful thinking but the operation of spiritual law. The universe mirrors the contents of your consciousness, It cannot do otherwise because your consciousness is part of the universal mind through which God acts. The words I am are of tremendous creative significance. They are not just pronouns, they are the name of the divine presence within you, Whatever follows I am is a command to the creative power of the universe to bring that condition into expression. When you say I am sick, you are affirming illness as your reality. When you say I am healthy, you affirm life and wholeness. When you say I am poor, you affirm lack, but when you say I am abundant, you open yourself to the flow of divine supply. You are always affirming something, whether consciously or unconsciously, Sophie. And the law of mind reproduces according to the seed planted. This is why it is essential to become aware of your habitual thoughts and to direct them with intention. You must speak the language of God within you, which is the language of faith, peace and love. The universe does not respond to your words alone, it responds to the vibration of belief behind them. You cannot deceive the law, you can only align with it or resist it. When you learn to align your thoughts with divine truth, Sophie, you begin to experience a sense of mastery over life. You discover that outer circumstances are not causes but effects, reflections of inner states of mind. Change the inner pattern, and the outer condition must change accordingly, Sophie. If there is confusion in your affairs, bring clarity into your thoughts. If there is lack in your finances, cultivate a consciousness of abundance. If there is disharmony in your relationships, hold thoughts of love, understanding and unity, Sophie. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of it. The power that creates worlds does not operate outside of you. It operates through you as your own thinking. Every great achievement, every act of healing, Sophie. Every moment of inspiration begins as a thought aligned with divine intelligence. That is the secret of all true creation, and it is as available to you now as it was to any prophet, artist or inventor who ever lived, Sophie. To feel the creative power of your mind is to awaken to your partnership with God. You are not creating alone, you are co-creating with infinite intelligence. When you think with love, you think with the mind of God. When you imagine good, Sophie, you are allowing divine ideas to take form in your world. The more you align your thinking with divine qualities, the more your life becomes an outpicturing of those qualities. This is why meditation, prayer, and affirmation are so powerful. They lift your thoughts above the level of fear and limitation, aligning them with the higher vibration of divine truth. When your consciousness is lifted, the energy of your life changes, Sophie. You become magnetic to harmony and repellent to discord. You begin to notice that things flow more smoothly, that solutions appear before problems even arise, that peace remains even amid chaos. These are not coincidences, philosophy, they are the natural effects of living in alignment with divine mind. The subconscious mind is like the soil of creation, and your conscious thoughts are the seeds. The soil does not discriminate between good or bad seeds, Sophie, it simply produces after its kind. That is why you must choose your thoughts carefully. When you plant seeds of faith, joy and gratitude, the subconscious brings forth experiences that match those vibrations. When you plant seeds of fear, worry, Sophie, and resentment, it must bring forth the same kind. The process is impersonal, exact and unchanging. You may not see immediate results, but the law is always at work beneath the surface, Sophie, and what you habitually hold in consciousness will inevitably appear in your life. This understanding gives you both power and responsibility, Sophie. You can no longer blame fate or luck, because you know the source of your experience lies within your own thinking. Yet it also gives you freedom, because if thought has created limitation, thought can also create liberation, Sophie. There is a quiet power that begins to move through you when you consciously align your thinking with divine truth. You feel guided, inspired, and supported. You begin to sense that life is not happening to you but responding to you, Sophie. Every situation becomes a reflection of what you are radiating inwardly. When you change the vibration of your thought, you change the pattern of your life. This is the great secret known to all who have mastered themselves, philosophy. It is not by force or struggle that you create but by the quiet realization of truth. The more you think in harmony with divine principles, the less effort is required, because divine intelligence works through you without resistance. You become like a vessel through which the creative power of God flows freely. You think clearly, speak wisely, act confidently and live peacefully, Sophie. Because you know that the power that guides the stars also guides your thoughts and shapes your destiny. As you dwell on these truths day by day, you begin to see evidence of their reality. Opportunities appear where there were none, Healing takes place where there was pain. Relationships blossom where there was misunderstanding. This is not magic but law, and it works with mathematical precision. You are using it every moment whether you know it or not, Sophie. Every thought is a prayer, every belief a decree. When you align those prayers and decrees with divine goodness, your world becomes a reflection of heaven itself. To realize this is to understand the sacred responsibility of thought. You are the thinker, and the thinker is one with God. The creative power of the universe flows through your mind, shaping your destiny according to the images you hold and the feelings you nurture. The more you understand and feel this, Sophie, the more consciously you direct the power that has always been yours from the beginning of time. To truly awaken the divine presence within, it is not enough to think about it intellectually, or to repeat words of truth mechanically. You must feel it. Feeling is the secret bridge between the invisible and the visible, between thought and manifestation. The mind can accept an idea, but until that idea is impressed upon your deeper, emotional nature, it remains only potential. The moment you feel the reality of God's presence within you, that feeling begins to transform your entire being. It stirs the energy of life itself, quickening every cell, illuminating every thought, harmonizing every vibration of your body and mind. It is like sunlight touching a dormant seed in the soil. What was hidden begins to unfold, what was asleep begins to awaken. When you feel God's presence, you are no longer seeking divinity outside of yourself, you are communing with it directly. You sense the stillness beneath all movement, the peace beneath all thought, the eternal life that sustains every heartbeat and breath. You begin to realize that feeling is prayer in its purest form. Words without feeling are like empty shells, but a single moment of sincere feeling connects you instantly with the infinite. When you close your eyes and inwardly affirm, God lives in me now, and feel it with quiet conviction, you create an emotional vibration that unites your conscious mind with the creative power of the subconscious. The subconscious, being the receptive part of your mind, responds not to the mere words you say but to the emotional energy behind them. If you affirm health while feeling fear, the fear is what the subconscious receives. But if you affirm health with a deep feeling of peace and confidence, divine power flows through that feeling and brings it into expression. This is why you must train yourself to feel truth rather than merely think about it. You must learn to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of faith, love, and gratitude until it becomes your natural vibration. Feeling the divine presence is not about forcing emotion or pretending to be spiritual. It is about stilling the restless mind and allowing awareness to sink from the head into the heart. Philosophy: the heart is the center of intuition, the place where divine wisdom whispers without words. When you bring your attention there and breathe slowly, quietly, deeply, you begin to feel something subtle yet unmistakable. A warmth, a lightness, a sense of peace that does not depend on circumstances. That is the presence of God within you making itself known. It may come as a soft assurance that all is well, or as a quiet joy that rises without reason. The more you notice it, the stronger it grows. Each moment of genuine feeling reinforces the truth in your subconscious until it becomes your dominant state of being. From that state, everything in your outer life begins to rearrange itself according to the harmony you feel inside. When you awaken this inner feeling, you begin to see that faith is not blind belief, but a state of felt knowing. It is the calm conviction that divine power is working through you. Even when your senses cannot yet see the results, you feel the reality of your desired good before it appears. And that feeling draws it into form. The universe always mirrors your emotional state. If you feel lack, life will reflect lack. If you feel abundance, life will mirror abundance. If you feel love, love will surround you. This is the spiritual law of correspondence between inner and outer experience. Therefore, to transform your life, you must transform your feeling. You cannot change outer conditions by struggling against them. You must change the inner vibration that created them. The simplest and most direct way to do this is to feel the truth of divine presence until it becomes more real to you than appearances. To feel that God is within you, begin by remembering that you are alive because divine life is flowing through you. Every breath you take is proof of that presence. When you breathe consciously, knowing that each inhalation draws in divine energy and each exhalation releases tension, you begin to feel yourself filled with peace and strength. You can do this anywhere, at any time. When faced with fear or confusion, stop for a moment, close your eyes and feel the divine life within you. Say inwardly, I am filled with the light and power of God, and feel that light expanding through every part of your body and mind. Do not strain or force the feeling, simply allow it. Even a faint awareness, gently nurtured, grows stronger with practice. The more you feel it, the more it expresses itself through you as calmness, clarity, and confidence. You begin to radiate that vibration to others, uplifting them without even trying, because the feeling of divine presence naturally transmits itself. When you live from this feeling, you notice that your perception of the world changes. The same situations that once caused worry now seem lighter, easier to handle. You sense guidance in every step, as though invisible hands are leading you in the right direction. This is not imagination, it is the natural response of life to your inner vibration. Feeling the presence of God aligns you with the current of divine intelligence, and that intelligence moves through you as inspiration, intuition, and perfect timing. You make decisions effortlessly because they arise from a place of deep knowing rather than fear or doubt. Even challenges become opportunities for expansion, because you sense the divine purpose behind them. You realize that nothing is against you, Sophie. That every experience is a movement of the same divine energy teaching you to feel more deeply, to trust more fully, to love more completely. The feeling of divine presence also brings healing. When you fill your consciousness with peace, Sophie, your body responds with balance and harmony. Every organ, every cell is influenced by your emotional state, and the vibration of divine love has a restorative power that no medicine can replicate, Sophie. When you sit in stillness and feel the presence of God flowing through your body, you are bathing every part of yourself in spiritual energy. This energy dissolves tension, clears mental confusion, and restores vitality, Sophie. Many have found that physical healing begins not with treatment but with a shift in feeling, from fear to faith, from resistance to acceptance, from anxiety to peace. The body is the mirror of the mind, and the mind is the vessel of divine power, Sophie. When you feel that power with sincerity and gratitude, it begins to renew you from within, often in ways that seem miraculous but are simply natural expressions of divine law. The art of feeling God's presence is the art of living in awareness. Philosophy, it is not something reserved for moments of prayer or meditation, it is a way of being. As you go through your day, you can silently remind yourself, God is here, God is now, God is in me. You can feel it as you walk, as you speak, as you work, Sophie. The divine presence does not leave you when you are busy or distracted. Only your awareness of it fades. By bringing your attention back again and again to that inner feeling, you train your mind to dwell in peace regardless of circumstances, Sophie. You begin to sense that everything you do, no matter how ordinary, can be an expression of divine energy. Even small acts take on new significance when performed with the awareness that God is acting through you, Sophie. This feeling of sacred partnership transforms work into joy, relationships into blessings, and challenges into opportunities for growth. The more deeply you feel the presence of God within, the less you depend on outer things for happiness, Sophie. You realize that peace does not come from possessions, achievements, or approval, but from the awareness of divine life within you. That awareness becomes your refuge, your source of strength. When storms arise in the outer world, Sophie, you return to that feeling as one returns to the center of stillness amid motion. You find that nothing external can disturb the peace that comes from union with the divine. This feeling becomes your constant companion, Sophie. A quiet joy that underlies every moment. You no longer need to seek proof that God exists because you feel His presence directly as the very essence of your being. You know without words or reasoning, that life itself is divine, Sophie. And that you are an expression of that divinity unfolding more fully with every breath you take. When you live with constant awareness of the divine presence within, your entire relationship with life transforms, Sophie. You begin to move through the world with a quiet confidence, a calm strength that is not dependent on circumstances or conditions. You no longer wake up wondering what will happen to you today, Sophie, because you know that life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. The same infinite intelligence that governs the movement of the stars and the rhythm of the oceans is guiding your every step, breathing through your lungs, Sophie, thinking through your mind and loving through your heart. This awareness brings a deep sense of harmony, a peace that remains unshaken by outer events. You begin to feel that there is a divine order unfolding in all things, Sophie. Even in those moments that once seemed chaotic or difficult, you start to trust the unseen currents of life, knowing that the power within you is far greater than anything outside you could ever be. As you hold this awareness, philosophy, fear begins to lose its grip. Fear thrives only in the illusion of separation, when you believe you are alone, powerless, or disconnected from your source. But when you live in the recognition that God is within you and around you, Sophie, fear dissolves naturally like mist vanishing in the sunlight. You realize that no circumstance has any power over you except the power you give it through thought and emotion. The presence of God within you is unchangeable, eternal, and complete, Sophie. And when your mind rests upon that truth, no outer condition can disturb your peace. Even in the face of challenges you remain calm because you know the divine presence will express the perfect solution through you, Sophie. Instead of reacting with worry or resistance, you respond with faith and poise, allowing divine intelligence to reveal the next step at the right time. Harmony begins to express itself in every aspect of your life when you live from this awareness. Philosophy, relationships become smoother, because you no longer approach others with fear, judgment, or need. You recognize the same divine life in everyone you meet, and that recognition calls forth the best in them. Where there was once tension, Sophie, there is now understanding. Where there was once conflict, there is now cooperation. The divine presence within you becomes like a magnetic field of peace that radiates outward, influencing your environment in subtle but powerful ways. Sophie. People feel at ease around you without knowing why, because they sense the calm of your spirit. Opportunities unfold effortlessly, not because you chase them, but because you are in harmony with the flow of divine timing. Sophie. You no longer force outcomes or struggle to make things happen. You allow life to unfold naturally, guided by the wisdom of the presence within. When you live in constant awareness of the divine, you stop identifying yourself with appearances. Sophie, you may see limitation, but you no longer accept it as truth. You may encounter delay, but you know that the divine plan is unfolding perfectly, even if you cannot yet see how. Sophie. You stop judging situations as good or bad and start seeing them as steps in the revelation of greater good. This perspective brings tremendous freedom. Sophie. You are no longer a prisoner of outer conditions because your focus has shifted from the external to the internal, from effect to cause, from form to spirit. Sophie. You understand that what happens outside of you is a reflection of what is happening within your consciousness. And because of that, you remain centered in divine awareness regardless of appearances. Sophie. This is the secret of harmony. To remain inwardly undisturbed while allowing outer circumstances to adjust themselves according to divine order. Peace becomes your natural state when you live from the awareness of God within. Sophie. You do not need to create peace. You simply become aware of the peace that has always been there beneath the surface of thought. It is the stillness of divine presence that exists in every moment, waiting for you to notice it. Sophie. When your mind is quiet and your heart is open, you feel it as a gentle assurance that all is well. This peace does not mean passivity or indifference. It is a dynamic peace full of power and purpose. Sophie. It is the peace that allows you to act with clarity and strength without haste or anxiety. From that center of peace, every decision becomes simpler, every action more effective. You find yourself accomplishing more with less effort. Sophie. Because your actions are no longer driven by fear or desire, but guided by the quiet wisdom of the divine within. Living in awareness of the divine presence also brings a deep sense of abundance. You realize that supply does not come from people, jobs, or circumstances. It comes from the infinite source of life that expresses through you. You begin to see money, opportunities, Sophie, and success not as things to be gained, but as natural expressions of divine energy flowing through your consciousness. When you feel connected to this inner source, you stop worrying about lack. Sophie. You know that what you need will appear in perfect time and in perfect form. Gratitude becomes your natural attitude, not because you are trying to be positive, but because you see the abundance of life everywhere. Sophie. You give freely because you know you are part of an inexhaustible supply. The more you give, the more you receive, because giving and receiving are simply two movements of the same divine flow operating through you. Sophie. When you live from divine awareness, even your body responds to it. The cells of your being vibrate in harmony with the consciousness of peace and wholeness. You begin to feel lighter, more energized, and more alive. Sophie. Health becomes the natural condition of your body, because it is the natural expression of divine life. Illness and fatigue dissolve as you align your thoughts and emotions with the truth of your being. Sophie, you realize that divine life is constantly renewing and restoring every part of you, and you cooperate with that process by holding thoughts of vitality, gratitude, and love. You stop identifying with age, limitation, or weakness, Sophie, and begin to see yourself as a channel of infinite energy. Every cell responds to that recognition, and your body becomes an instrument through which divine harmony is expressed. Sophie. The awareness of God within you also transforms how you approach challenges. What once appeared as obstacles now appear as opportunities for greater expression of divine strength. You no longer resist difficulties, Sophie. You embrace them as part of your spiritual unfoldment. You understand that each challenge is a call to deepen your awareness, to rely more fully on the inner presence, rather than external circumstances. You meet problems with calm assurance, then knowing that divine intelligence already holds the solution. You stop saying, "I can't," and start affirming, "God through me can." This shift in awareness dissolves fear and awakens creativity. New ideas, insights, solutions flow naturally because your mind is open and receptive to divine inspiration. You are no longer reacting from habit or emotion, you are responding from wisdom. As this awareness grows, love begins to flow more freely through you, Sophie. You feel compassion not only for those close to you but for all living beings. You see the divine presence shining through everyone, even those who seem lost or unkind, Sophie. You realize that beneath every act of fear or hostility lies a soul yearning for connection with its source. This understanding brings forgiveness, not as an effort but as a natural outflow of divine love, Sophie. You no longer need to defend or justify yourself because you know that the divine presence within is your strength and protection. This love radiates silently from you, blessing everyone it touches, healing wounds, mending relationships, Sophie, and spreading peace. You become a living reminder to others of the divine presence that dwells in them too. To live in harmony through divine awareness is to live in freedom, Sophie. You are no longer bound by fear of the future or regret of the past because you know that life is eternally now, and this now is filled with divine intelligence. You act when guided, rest when moved to, and trust the unfolding of every event, Sophie. You realize that you are not trying to make life happen. You are allowing life to express itself through you in perfect rhythm. This is the highest state of living, to be so attuned to the divine presence within that every thought, word, and action flows from peace, love, and wisdom. The outer world becomes a mirror of that inner harmony, Sophie, and your life shines as an example of what it means to walk in constant communion with the infinite presence of God, that lives within and around you,